I should have listened to my gut that morning. The forest felt wrong, too quiet, too still. But I kept hiking deeper into the mountains, my camera bag bouncing against my hip. I was 23 and stupid, thinking I was invincible. The sun was bright overhead when I found the perfect spot, a clearing near a stream, wildflowers everywhere. I knelt down to photograph a cluster of purple blooms, completely focused on getting the right angle. That's when I smelled it. Something rotten. Something dead. I looked up slowly and my blood turned to ice. 30 feet away, a massive grizzly bear stood on its hind legs. It was bigger than anything I'd ever imagined. 8 feet tall, maybe more. Its fur was dark brown, matted with dirt and something else. Something wet and red. The bear's snout was stained crimson, and chunks of meat hung from its teeth. I'd interrupted its meal. For 3 heartbeats, we just stared at each other. My hands started shaking so badly I dropped my camera. The sound of it hitting the rocks echoed through the clearing like a gunshot. The bear dropped to all fours and roared. The sound punched through my chest like a physical force. I felt it in my bones, in my teeth, in my soul. This wasn't a warning roar. This was rage. Pure animal rage. My legs moved before my brain could catch up. I ran. Every article I had ever read about bears screamed in my head. Don't run. Play dead. Make yourself big. But none of that mattered. Terror had taken over, and I sprinted toward the trees like my life depended on it. Because it did. I heard the bear behind me. Not just heard it. Felt it. The ground shook with each pounding step. I've never heard anything more terrifying than that sound. Boom, 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 like thunder chasing me through the forest. And it was getting closer. I looked back once. Just once. That was my mistake. The bear was 10 feet behind me, its mouth open wide, its eyes locked on mine. I could see inside its throat. I could smell its breath, hot and meaty and wrong. I saw my death in those eyes and I screamed. My foot caught on a root. I went down hard, slamming face first into the dirt. The air burst from my lungs. For a split second, everything went quiet except for the rushing of blood in my ears. Then the bear was on me. The weight hit me like a car. 600 pounds of pure muscle and fury slammed into my back, crushing me into the ground. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move, couldn't think. I tried to scream, but nothing came out except a weak gasp. The pain came next. The bear's claws raked across my shoulder, and it felt like someone had pressed hot iron bars into my flesh. 5 lines of fire, digging deep, tearing through skin and muscle. I felt my shirt rip away, felt the warm gush of blood. I screamed then. I screamed so loud it hurt my throat. The bear roared right in my ear, and the sound was deafening. It bit down on my backpack, and I felt the straps snap. The bear shook its head violently, trying to tear into me, but the backpack was in the way. Metal water bottles clattered. My spare camera smashed. The bear's teeth were inches from my neck, and I could feel its hot spit dripping onto my skin. I thrashed underneath it, completely panicked, fighting on pure instinct. My hand found a rock. Without thinking, I swung it backward over my shoulder and hit something soft. The bear's nose, maybe, or its eye. The bear jerked back and roared again, but this time there was something else in the sound. Pain. Anger. I'd heard it, and that made everything worse. It came at me again, faster now, more violent. Its paw slammed into my side, and I heard something crack. My ribs. The pain was instant and sharp, like broken glass grinding inside my chest. I curled into a ball, wrapping my arms over my head, trying to protect anything vital. The bear's claws ripped across my back, once, twice, 3 times. Each slash felt like being cut open with a chainsaw. I felt my skin splitting, felt the hot rush of blood soaking through my clothes. I was being torn apart, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. My vision started to blur. Dark spots danced at the edges. I was going to die here, alone, ripped to pieces by a wild animal. My parents would never even find my body. Then I heard it. A crack, sharp and loud, echoing through the trees. The bear stopped. It lifted its head, listening. Another crack, closer this time. Gunshots. Someone was firing a gun. The bear huffed and bit down on my shoulder one last time. The pain was so intense I nearly passed out. Its teeth punched through my collarbone like it was nothing. I felt something pop inside me, something deep and important. Then suddenly, the weight was gone. The bear had let go. Through my fading vision, I saw it lumber away into the trees, disappearing as quickly as it had appeared. I lay there in the dirt, unable to move, unable to do anything but breathe. Each breath was agony. My back was on fire. My shoulder throbbed with every heartbeat. Blood pooled beneath me, warm and sticky. A man appeared above me, a park ranger. His face went white when he saw me. "Oh God," he whispered. "Oh God, stay with me. Stay with me." I tried to speak, but only a gurgle came out. Blood in my mouth. My tongue felt thick and wrong. The ranger pressed something against my back, and I screamed. He was talking, saying things I couldn't understand. Radio. Helicopter. Hold on. The words floated past me like smoke. I closed my eyes, and the world went dark. I woke up 3 days later in a hospital. 47 stitches across my back, 23 on my shoulder, 3 broken ribs, a fractured collarbone, nerve damage that the doctors said might never fully heal. But I was alive. The scars on my body will fade with time, but the scars in my mind, those will never heal. They're carved too deep, and they'll stay with me for the rest of my life. I should have said no to Adam's party, but I was 17 and stupid, and saying no felt impossible back then. The party was at his uncle's lake house, 3 hours from anywhere that mattered. 30 kids, loud music, and way too much drinking. I had 3 beers, maybe 4. Enough to feel brave, but not enough to be smart about it. Around midnight, someone suggested a swim. The lake stretched out behind the house like a sheet of black glass, and the moon made it look almost pretty. "Come on, it'll be fun," Adam yelled, already running toward the dock in his shorts. I followed because everyone else did. That's how stupid decisions happen. You just follow. The water felt good at first, cool against my skin, washing away the sweat and smoke from inside. I could hear laughing and splashing all around me. Someone was playing chicken. Someone else was trying to climb onto a floating platform about 50 feet from shore. The dock lights made everything look orange and weird. I'm not a great swimmer, but I'm not terrible either. I took lessons when I was a kid. I know how to float, how to tread water, basic stuff. But I had been drinking, and the lake was deeper than I thought, and I was farther from shore than I realized. That's when my left leg cramped up. It felt like someone had grabbed my calf muscle and twisted it with both hands. The pain shot up my leg like electricity, so sudden and sharp that I gasped and sucked in water. I went under, choking, kicking with my good leg. My arms flailed, but they weren't moving me up. They were just hitting water, going nowhere. I broke the surface and screamed, "Help!" But my voice sounded tiny against the music still blasting from the house. Everyone was laughing and shouting, and my scream just disappeared into all that noise like it was nothing. I went under again. The cold water filled my nose and throat. My cramped leg was useless, just dead weight pulling me down. I kicked with my right leg, pushed up with my arms, and got my face above water for maybe 2 seconds. "Help!" I tried again, but water splashed into my mouth halfway through the word. No one heard me. No one was even looking my way. My chest started to burn. That's what I remember most. Not the fear at first, but the burning. My lungs felt like they were full of hot coals, screaming for air I couldn't give them. I went under a third time, and this time I sank deeper. The orange dock lights got dimmer, farther away. They looked like dying stars. My ears filled with pressure. My leg kept spasming, each cramp worse than the last. I tried to swim up, but I didn't know which way up was anymore. Everything was dark and cold and wrong. That's when the real terror hit me. I was going to die. Right here with 30 people 50 feet away. I was going to die, and no one would even notice until someone counted bodies later. My mom would get a phone call in the middle of the night. My little sister would have to grow up knowing her brother drowned at some stupid party. I opened my mouth to scream, and lake water rushed in. It tasted like dirt and fish and ending. My throat closed up, trying to protect my lungs, but that just made the burning worse. My vision started going black around the edges, shrinking down to a tiny point of dim light. My body started doing things without me. My arms jerked. My legs twitched. I felt myself sinking faster, spinning slowly in the dark water like a piece of trash. 20 feet down. 30, maybe more. My ears were popping. The pressure felt like my skull was being squeezed in a giant fist. I couldn't fight anymore. My arms felt heavy, like they were made of stone. My lungs were on fire, and my brain was screaming at me to just breathe. Just open up and breathe, even though I knew that would kill me. The urge was insane. Every cell in my body demanding air, not caring that there was only water to breathe. I started to let go. The darkness felt almost peaceful. The burning was fading to a dull ache. I thought about my mom's lasagna, weirdly, about my sister's laugh, about the dog we had when I was 8, random things all jumbled up and slipping away. Then something grabbed my hair. Pain exploded across my scalp as someone yanked me upward. My neck snapped back, and suddenly I was moving, being dragged through the water. I couldn't help. My body was done, but whoever had me wasn't letting go. We broke the surface, and I tried to breathe, but my throat wouldn't open. I made a horrible wheezing sound, like a broken vacuum cleaner. My rescuer, I still couldn't see who it was swimming hard, pulling me toward the dock. Every few seconds, my face went underwater again, and I couldn't even panic anymore. I was a rag doll. My hip hit something wooden. The dock. Hands grabbed me from above, multiple hands, lifting, dragging me up onto the rough planks. I flopped onto my side like a dead fish, and that's when everything came up. Water, beer, everything, pouring out of my mouth and nose in painful heaves. I couldn't stop. My body was rejecting the lake, trying to get every drop out. Someone rolled me onto my side. I could hear yelling now, people gathering around. The music had stopped. "Call 911, someone shouted. "Is he breathing? Give him space." I was breathing, sort of. Gasping, wheezing, coughing up more water. Each breath felt like swallowing broken glass. My legs still cramped, throbbing with pain. My chest was on fire. My throat was raw. But I was breathing. I looked up and saw my rescuer. It was Sarah Chen from my history class. She was soaking wet, gasping for air herself, her hair plastered to her face. She had been on the floating platform when she saw me go under the third time. She told me later that everyone else thought I was just goofing around. She was the only one who noticed I wasn't coming back up. She had jumped in and dove deep, feeling around in the dark until her hand found my hair. Then she pulled, even though I was bigger than her, even though I was dead weight. She pulled until her arms screamed, until her own lungs were burning, until we reached the surface. The ambulance came 20 minutes later. They gave me oxygen, checked my vitals, took me to the hospital. I had water in my lungs and stayed overnight for observation. My leg cramped on and off for 3 more hours. The doctors said I was lucky. Another minute down there, and I would have been brain dead. Another 2 minutes, and I would have been just dead. I haven't been swimming since. Not in lakes, not in pools, nowhere. People say I should face my fear, get back out there, but they don't understand. They didn't feel what it's like to drown, to have your body betray you while your brain screams in terror. They didn't feel the darkness closing in, the absolute certainty that you're going to die alone while people laugh 30 feet away. I see Sarah at school sometimes. We don't really talk about it. What is there to say? She saved my life, and that's too big for regular conversation. But sometimes she catches my eye in the hallway and we nod. Just a small nod. And that's enough. I still can't look at parking garages without my hands shaking. It started on a Tuesday. Carol texted me at 6:47 p.m. "Leaving work now, love you." That was the last normal moment of my life. By 7:30, I knew something was wrong. Carol was never late without calling. Her office was 15 minutes away. I called her phone 6 times, straight to voicemail. My stomach felt like I'd swallowed rocks. I drove to her workplace. Her car sat alone in the empty parking garage, driver's door wide open. Her purse was on the ground, phone smashed into pieces on the concrete, and her shoe, just one, lying on its side near the tire. I couldn't breathe right. I called 911, but my voice came out weird and high. The police came. They asked questions, took pictures. A detective with tired eyes told me the first 48 hours were critical. I wanted to scream at him to do something, but I just stood there, staring at that empty car. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hello? Heavy breathing, then a voice, soft, almost gentle. She's so beautiful when she sleeps. Did you know she talks in her sleep? She says your name sometimes. My blood turned to ice water. Who is this? Where is she? I've loved her for so long. Watched her, learned everything about her. She drinks vanilla coffee every morning. She has that little scar on her knee from falling off her bike when she was 9. She told me about it once, but she doesn't remember telling me. She tells me lots of things. Please. You don't deserve her. You're always on your phone when you're together. I've seen you. I pay attention. I notice everything. The line went dead. I showed the police. They traced the call, a burner phone, already destroyed. They found security footage from her office, a man in a maintenance uniform. He'd been working that building for 3 weeks. His ID was fake. The real maintenance company had never heard of him. Nobody knew who he was. He'd planned first night. I didn't sleep. I sat in our apartment, staring at her coffee mug still in the sink from that morning, her sweater on the couch, her smell still in the air. The police were investigating, but I could see it in their eyes. They had nothing. My phone buzzed at 3 a.m. A video message. My hands shook so hard I almost dropped the phone. Carol, tied to a chair in a concrete room, duct tape over her mouth. Her eyes were huge and wet with tears. She wasn't hurt. I could see she wasn't bleeding, but the terror in her face made me want to tear my own heart out. The camera moved, and he stepped into frame. Ordinary looking, maybe 35. Thinning hair, glasses. He could have been anyone. That's what made it worse. He looked like a math teacher or someone's accountant. See? She's fine. I would never hurt her. I love her. His hand touched her hair and she flinched. I've loved her for 2 years. Since she started working there, I got a job at the coffee shop across the street just to see her every day. Then I got the maintenance job, to be closer. Carol was crying, making muffled sounds behind the tape. She smiled at me once. Really smiled. It wasn't the polite smile she gives everyone. It was real. She saw me. Nobody ever sees me, but she did. That day, I knew we were meant to be together. I was crying now, too. Please let her go, please. You had your chance. You took her for granted. Now it's my turn. The video ended. I took it to the police immediately. They analyzed every frame. The room looked like a basement, old concrete, a small window near the ceiling showing darkness. Could have been anywhere within 100 miles. Day 2 was worse. Another video came at noon. Carol looked exhausted. She'd been crying so much her face was swollen. The tape was off her mouth now. Tell him, the man's voice said from behind the camera. Tell him you're okay. Jake, her voice cracked. Jake, I'm scared. Please find me. He keeps talking about us being together and that's enough. The camera jerked. See? She's fine. I'm taking care of her. I made her favorite meal. Chicken pasta with that cream sauce she loves. I know everything about her. Everything. My detective, Morrison, was getting frantic too. They tracked down every burner phone purchase in the area. Interviewed hundreds of people. Nothing. He's had 2 years to plan this, Morrison said. He's smart. Careful. But he'd made one mistake. In the second video, Carol's eyes moved. Just for a second, she looked up and to the left. Then back at the camera. She did it twice. She was trying to tell me something. I watched that video 50 times. Then I saw it. In the tiny window behind her, for just a moment, a reflection. Red neon. 2 letters visible. P-E. I grabbed a map, started circling every business with those letters, spent 6 hours driving around. Open. Supermarket. Paper supply. Then I found it. Repair shop. Old building, half abandoned in an industrial area. The neon sign was broken, just re and air still lit up. Behind the shop was a small house, windows dark. I called Morrison, told him to come with backup. But I couldn't wait. Carol had been gone 47 hours. Every second mattered. I parked 2 blocks away, crept up to the house, looked through a basement window, and saw her, still tied to the chair. The man was there, his back to the window, talking to her. I couldn't hear the words, but Carol's face was white with fear. I didn't think. I grabbed a rock and smashed the window. The sound of breaking glass. The man spun around, his face shocked. I squeezed through the window, fell hard on the concrete floor. He ran at me and we crashed into the wall. He was stronger than he looked. His hands went around my throat. Carol was screaming. My vision started going dark. I couldn't breathe. This was it. This was how I died. Then Carol, still tied to the chair, threw herself forward. The chair hit his back. He stumbled. I gasped for air and grabbed the nearest thing, a wrench from his workbench, and swung. He went down. Didn't move. I crawled to Carol, untied her with shaking hands. She collapsed into my arms, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. I held her and cried too, and we stayed like that until we heard sirens. Morrison got there with 6 other cops. They took the man away in handcuffs. He was mumbling about love, about chances, about destiny. At the hospital, the doctor said Carol was dehydrated and exhausted, but not seriously hurt. Physically, anyway. The look in her eyes, that would take longer to heal. The man's name was David Keller. Never married, no criminal record, completely ordinary except for the obsession that had grown inside him like cancer. Carol and I moved to a different city 3 months later. She's in therapy. So am I. Some nights she wakes up screaming. Some nights I do too. But we're here. We're alive. We made it out. Sometimes that has to be enough.